Welcome, age of vintage society. Smart and classy Amanda Blake was awesomely celebrated as the powerhouse of the Gunsmoke show, where she featured as Miss Kitty in the Western drama series described as one of the best of its genre in history. Although pushed around by admirers, she did not lose her guard, and apart from being an exceptional character and a cancer survivor, she has a touching life story that made her unique. While fans continue to imagine what the series would have been like without her, they were shocked by her sudden demise and the unfortunate circumstances that made headlines afterward. Why Amanda Blake's controversial death was a secret. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. I just loved Miss Kitty. So sad she died so soon. I grew up watching Miss Blake on Gunsmoke. I idolised her. My daughter has red hair just like Kitty, so I named her Amanda in her honour. She brought bite to it, yet you always knew she was soft underneath. Too bad Kitty and Matt Dillon didn't go farther. The affectionate words of amazed fans of Amanda Blake who continue to adore her contribution to the American entertainment industry. Blake did not just break the heart of fans when she left the drama series, but proved to her followers that she was the pivot of the entire concept, as the show came to an end at the end of season 20, following her departure after the 19th edition. Was it really a coincidence that the series was disregarded after Blake moved on? Dearly loved for her excellent outings, especially her chemistry with Matt Dillon that kept fans on the edge of their seat, Drake was indeed everyone's favourite. She was so vital that several episodes had to centre around her playful character as the proprietor of Long Branch Saloon in Dodge City. The suspense created by this redhead's showing left millions of fans asking will they or will they not in her relationship with Matt Dillon. Her characterisation as a sturdy Western lady with a warm heart appeared in more than 500 episodes, which would forever place her in the legendary book as a model woman of choice. Blake also lived a colourful lifestyle and made her mark as an actress and a woman of value. As a cancer survivor and advocate, she also channeled her energy toward caring for and championing the cause of animals when she took a partial retirement stance. The media was agog the day Blake brought her pet lion Chemo to the Gunsmoke production arena, a lion that resided in an animal complex within her residence, where she and her husband Frank Gilbert were operating a trial breeding program for cheetahs. An exciting way to live. It was reported that Blake and her husband were among those who initially succeeded in rearing cheetahs in confinement and were able to grow up to 7 generations of them. Married 4 times to 4 different men at different stages of her life, this stunning American actress was also a big-time traveller. Interestingly, Blake explored parts of the world, migrating as far as Africa on several occasions, and the Galapagos Islands, before retiring to a 20-acre ranch in Galt, California, run by her buddy and animal instructor Pat Darby. It was said that former Hollywood animals like Christopher the Cougar, that was in Lincoln Mercury car commercials, were also received at the Paws charity when they retired. In a recent confession by an ardent follower, Blake was described as an amazing woman. I'm still watching all the reruns episodes. I wanted to watch her and James Arness kiss each other, but it never happened. Quite lovely. Beverly Louise Neal, now known as Amanda Blake, was born on the 20th of February 1929 in Buffalo, New York. She happens to be the only child of her parents Jesse and Louise Neal. Her father was a financial expert. Blake's ancestor Catherine Moore was among the heroine of the American Revolutionary War that alerted local nationalists of Bonastre's Tarleton's coming, which enabled them to get ready for the Battle of Cowpens in 1781. While she was still acquiring her education in high school, Blake relocated with her parents to Claremont, California, when she finished at Claremont High School and proceeded to Pomona College. It was at this time that she started nursing an acting ambition. She soon discovered that her interest was more in being a part of a local theatre productions group than focusing on her studies. At some point she completely changed her focus from education to acting, hence was said to have studied for a short period at Pomona College before pursuing a career in the entertainment industry. But while still aspiring for a breakthrough, she started building her financial strength little by little as she took on a job as a telephone operator. As a telephone machinist, Blake was earning $40 wage before an opening for her hit To the Screen came. The job may have also assisted her in some way, improved her diction and exposed her to certain radio programs and performances, as she also handled dramatic readings at a neighbourhood women's club. Sooner, Blake made her theatrical appearance on commercial stage shows and was said to have also performed for summer stock in New England. She also appeared in a radio drama in Buffalo before she was discovered by MGM Studios, who saw something unique in Blake as she was signed in, with critics saying that she was seen as another Greer Garson. Recall that Garson was an MGM movie icon within the 1940s who won 5 successive Best Actress Oscar nominees and became a giant box office draw. Blake was reported to have officially renamed herself Amanda Blake from Beverly Neal, her birth name, for a reason best known to her, but may not be unconnected to her wanting a name that is a bit sleeker. Her first film was Stars in My Crown, after which she prepared herself for more exploitation. Blake showed up in several Hollywood films at the time, among which were the western Cattletown in 1952 and her starring role as Miss Robin Crusoe in the 1954 version of the Robinson Crusoe Voyage. Blake also appeared in A Star is Born the same year. Of course, very few people knew about her until Blake began a 19-year stint as a saloon proprietor, Miss Kitty Russell, in the Gunsmoke TV series, which spanned from 1955 to 1974. It was a breakthrough for her career as Blake entered her finest show, starring opposite then newcomer James Arness, who played his role as Marshal Matt Dillon. Her constant engagement in the series obviously took her away from Hollywood movies. Blake was so occupied with TV shows, appearing also in several related television shows like The Red Skelton Show, which was a regular comic. She was also seen as a famous person on Hollywood Squares, Tattletales, and the renewal of Match Game in the 1970s. Another important show that felt her presence is the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast Comedy. On how she felt about the series, Blake once hinted that her role in Gunsmoke was like working with family. She had added that after separating from her first husband in 1956, she always appeared on set during Gunsmoke productions, regardless of whether she had a role to play or not. This is, as she puts it, it felt like coming home. Significantly, she was said to have met her former roommate, Jan Shepherd, who was also a familiar face on television westerns that also appeared in many shows like The Virginian, Rawhide, and Gunsmoke. At this time, Blake was already a known TV personality. She also guest starred as Betty Lavon Coate in The Coat of Many Colours, episode of 1957 Rod Cameron's crime play known as State Trooper. She kept doing her fans proud and would later appear in 2 feature movies after the widely successful Gunsmoke series, Born and The Boost, which was a drama that featured James Woods and Sean Young sometime in 1988. Her contribution to the industry did not go unnoticed because she was in 1968 inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City, and she became 3 in the number of entertainers celebrated, leaving her behind Tom Mix and Gary Cooper, who was inducted in 1958 and 1966 respectively. Blake was married to Don Whitman in 1954, but the marriage ended in 1956. She got united with Jason Seymour Day sometime in 1964, but unfortunately that union also failed as the two were divorced in 1967. She, however, had a better understanding with Frank Gilbert, who she married in 1967, because the two achieved a lot together and remained married until 1982, when that one also terminated. The following marriage with Mark Edward Spaeth in 1984 was naturally separated in 1985 when Spaeth died. Like every other successful personality, Blake at some point was ready to move on without the Gunsmoke show after such a long stretch that she jokingly described as a period long enough for someone to be stuck behind the bar. When she was asked why she was leaving, she earnestly needed a break from her beloved show for some personal reasons. But objectively assessed, it seems Blake was having a hectic time transporting from Arizona to California frequently. It was only natural that she gets worn out, coupled with age and already declining health issues, which made fans agree that she chose the right time. A lot of writers think that Blake took a semi-retirement posture to her ranch in Arizona in 1974, so described because she seldom appears on TV shows and in films. It is also because she shifted her interest a little towards her pet animals and was reported to have devoted more time to the animals than her acting. It was a period she also made frequent trips to Africa, where she was said to have learned more about wildlife conservation. The accumulated knowledge is what helped her to start the Arizona Animal Welfare League. Recall that Blake, with fellow enthusiasts in 1971, co-founded the Arizona Animal Welfare League, which is today the foremost and largest no-kill animal protection centre in the state. Blake was no doubt an ardent animal enthusiast, as she had in her collection several breeds of dogs, cats, and related pets, including her pet lion, which she once brought on the set. Her charity work was laudable, and she also assisted in financing the Performing Animal Welfare Society startup, where she was said to have shown genuine interest and support physically and financially, and was allegedly a one-time board member of the Humane Society of the United States. Remember that in 1997 the Amanda Blake Memorial Wildlife Refuge started at Rancho Seco Park in Herald, California, a refugee camp providing shelter for free-ranging African hoofed wildlife. Active and vibrant Amanda Blake did not allow oral cancer to stop her service to humanity, hence had become an advocate for the American Cancer Society after surviving hers in 1977. As a heavy cigarette smoker, she had oral surgery. She showed up in fundraising projects across the country, and like a golden fish without a hiding place, her resoluteness, passion, and commitment to the cause were acknowledged, as she was said to have been recognized by ex-President Ronald Reagan, who gave her the American Cancer Society's Courage Award in 1984. When the news of her death broke, there was confusion about the actual cause of her death. Everyone thought that she might have died of renewed cancer, as was initially reported, but her doctor would later confirm her to have died of AIDS-related complications when a certain family-related issue came up. According to Dr. Lou Nishimura, her surgeon, Blake's death was nothing to do with oral cancer. That wasn't the reason. There was no recurrence of cancer, Nishimura had stated. Although Dr. Nishimura said that he was not privy to how Amanda Blake got the fatal disease, the report sparked controversy afterward, not just because she was declared the first important Hollywood actress to have died of AIDS, but some people were asking questions about how she got infected. While her close pals insisted that she wasn't a drug user or sexually loose to have gotten the disease, they concluded that she may have been infected by her ex-husband Mark Spaeth, who also died of AIDS complications. It was also reported that shortly before his death, Mark, who was a developer and city council official, had accused Blake of infecting him with the disease. He was said to have spoken to the press about how he might have contracted his viral infection from Amanda Blake, alleging that she may have acquired it during one of her visits to Africa. He died soon after their marriage of a few months ended. A story was told of how Amanda Blake discovered that she was HIV positive a year prior to her death and decided to keep sealed lips about it. In the words of Pat Darby, who was her closest pal, Amanda just seemed to accept it. She wasn't bitter and she wasn't angry. Darby thinks that Blake wanted it that way, and so her fans should respect her decision. Darby, with her husband, founded the Performing Animal Welfare Society in 1984. Interestingly, it was said that the cause of Blake's death was not made public initially for a personal reason until disagreement about inheritance among beneficiaries led to the revelation. It was reported that Blake's will, which allocated her entire estate valued at $400,000 to poors, caused the rumble. Blake's family members, including her aunt and two cousins, were not happy with the will, hence had to prove that she was mentally inept to take such a decision at the time she wrote her will. Pat Darby, who was afraid that the legal battle might twist the actual conditions of Blake's death, had to make open the actual cause of her death as AIDS. The revelation shocked fans across the globe, including her colleagues in the film industry. Stephen Stevens, who was her agent while expressing bewilderment, said he had met the actress about 3 weeks before her death. Stephen recalled her last statement before she left that fateful day. "Get me a job. I want to do another job. I want to meet more people," were her words. This suggested that until her last moment, Blake made everyone feel that all was okay with her. On the 16th of August 1989, Blake died of liver failure occasioned by viral hepatitis at Mercy General Hospital in Sacramento, California. This, according to the report, technically suggests that she died of liver failure caused by viral hepatitis that was AIDS-related. The unfortunate death came at the age of 60 when her fans needed her most, but her legacy would always be remembered in her charitable works, wit, warmth and kind-heartedness, which fans will forever cherish. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. It wasn't just Amanda Blake who had a life full of secrets. Why, Doris Day really was not Hollywood's girl next door in real life. Let's find out from this video.